I've always liked Minecraft. The way it unlocks creativity and imagination is something that's difficult to beat. My first big farm using circular donut-based technology still resonates with me today. As time moved on, I just kept going back to build more things, trying to chase that feeling. The mob sphere, the 2 ribbons, the donut update, XP Halo farm, and the list goes on. But there's a pattern I've created here. Are we destined to follow the easy path, the journey that feels comfortable, and pray to the invisible YouTube gods in the slim hope that their algorithms will bless us with its approval while we keep doing the same thing over and over again? So what happens when we diverge from the established path? When we wake up one morning and decide to do something different? To see what is behind the gates we've had closed in our minds for so long? We may just find that it leads to a journey of creation that obliterates our understanding of what is possible. This is just one such creation, and it is based on a square. Hey there people, as you can see, this is another golden XP farm. However, in my opinion, I think it's one of the best, and I'll explain why. But before I do, I'd just like to apologise for some of my past tutorials which made you build circles. I really don't know what I was thinking all these years. Ain't nobody's got time for circles in Minecraft. It was a mistake, it's not going to happen again, and it's all squares from now on. The farm produces 3 main outputs: zombie meat, which nobody cares about, gold and experience. The gold comes from nuggets and gold swords. If you were to smelt the gold swords, you'd get approximately 14,000 total gold nuggets per hour. Where this farm really shines is with the insane amount of XP it churns out. In fact, it produces XP faster than a single player can absorb into their body. It's a waterfall of XP orbs streaming out like a literal fire hose. Let's talk about how it works and some of its features. The farm is built in the Nether Wastes biome, high above the Nether at build limit. The elegance of this farm comes from its simplicity and minimalist design. It consists of 3 square magma block platforms with their centres open. The lower platform has a glass floor in the centre which can be used by the player and has plenty of room. There are 4 nether portals on the outside edges of the glass player platform. These allow us to remove the mobs as fast as possible so that new ones can regenerate and respawn. There is a double trapdoor gap around the edge to provide a safety barrier as well as an acceptable AI pathfinding for the mobs. The mobs will spawn on the platforms, be drawn towards the turtle eggs, and occasionally be injured by the iron golem. This then causes them to become all aggravated and pathfind towards the centre and get transported through the portals into the overworld. Once in the overworld, all the zombie pigmen will pour out of this portal, fall down into an entity cramming chamber, and get killed. They'll give up their loot and XP, which will flow through this water stream. This gives us the opportunity to use filters to be able to remove items and store them, with the XP eventually making its way back into the Nether. In this particular configuration, I have 2 sorters for zombie meat and 2 sorters for gold nuggets. The remaining items, such as gold swords, are being sent into this dropper, which are then being burnt in this fire. Now you could send those gold swords into a super smelter and convert them back into nuggets to add even more gold to the output. Because of the sheer volume of items that come through this water stream, you are going to need multiple filters, and you're going to have a really good sorting system because it's just so much stuff, it's nuts. But that's not a really hard problem to solve. This is another reason why we send these items back to the overworld. Because we have water here and we don't have it in the Nether, it's a lot easier to handle these items, store them and do things like that. However, if you really wanted a challenge, I guess you could send all the loot and all the XP back to the Nether and deal with it there. Back in the Nether, the player will be able to receive all the XP from this center portal here. Because of the sheer amount of XP that comes out of this thing, and you don't want to lag down your computer or server, you are going to need to operate this in barbecue mode occasionally. One particularly awesome feature about this farm is it's completely self-resetting, self-restarting. Here I am in creative mode, I'll switch to peaceful, the mobs are all gone, we'll switch back to normal, and you'll see how it just instantly self-restarts. Another great feature of this farm is it can operate without the iron golems. A player can simply stand here, shoot an arrow, aggravate a zombie pigman, and it then just generates the whole process again and starts them off. Let me show you how to build this thing. I've just created a new world and spawned in. I'm just having a look around, and actually this seed's pretty good. There's a lot of biomes and some rivers, and there's a jungle over there. Anyway, well, here's the seed. But what we need to do is get on with business and get into the Nether and look for some nether wastes. Alright, so here we are in the Nether, and looking around I can already see plenty of nether wastes. This is kind of like what they'll look like, not like this. You can also press F3 and it shows you the biome on the screen. I'm just going to have a little fly around here to see how big this nether waste is, because you're going to need to have at least 45 blocks of nether waste around the player. Alright, I've just been having a look around and I'm pretty confident, I've dug some tunnels here, that this nether wastes here is actually pretty large, and by coming over to probably this corner here, we've got a good 45 blocks in every direction that's all nether wastes. Now the next step is you're going to have to get above the Nether. Now there's heaps and heaps of tutorials on how to do that. There's dozens of different ways. So what I'm going to do is leave a link on the screen and in the description so you can go and learn about how to get above the Nether. But often it just involves a ladder and an ender pearl. You simply dig around at the top of the Nether until you can find a Y coordinate of 125. Once you've done that, you set some ladders up like this right into the corner. There's only one block above me that's actually bedrock, and you aim right into the corner here and just fire your ender pearl. Take a tiny bit of damage and you pop out through the roof like that. Now if you've come up here without obsidian or flint and steel, you're going to have major problems because you're stuck here forever. But anyway, let's get on with building this. Back in the safety of creative mode, which feels so good, we're going to pillar up, and we're going to have to pillar up really, really high up there. Now this is where I popped out, and before we pillar up, it might be a good idea to just take a walk around and make sure that you are entirely inside a nether waste. The farm needs about 35 to 40 blocks around the center of it, and I'm just having a look around now. I can see particles that are pretty close to here, and that usually indicates a different type of biome. If I walk over here, I'm in a soul sand valley. That's no good. So what I'll do is make sure I perhaps move the farm a little bit further this way, and you know, over to here or something like that, away from that other biome. So I'm just have a look around, make sure you're all inside the nether wastes. As I said, the farm is about 65 by 65 blocks. Now you're going to know when you've pillared too far, when you can't pillar any further. We've reached the build limit height, and this is perfect. This is going to be basically where our roof is going to go. So after you've popped a block on the side there, you're going to smash down 3 like this. Put another one on there like that. That's your top spawning platform level. These are just temporary blocks. Go down another 3. Put another block on like that. That's your middle platform. Down another 3. And finally, this is your lower spawning platform and player platform. Next thing we need to do is find the center of the farm. Now this is actually important. The block that we set for the center of the farm needs to be at an odd numbered coordinate in the X and the Z. So we'll just start by perhaps putting down a block here and just stand on top of it, bring up my F3 and have a look at the coordinates. X is -8.6 and Z is 113. Okay, the Z's good, the X isn't. So what we need to do is maybe move across a little bit to here and stand on this block, roughly in the center. And now I can see that the X is negative 9.6 and the Z is 113. Both of those numbers are odd numbers, and we're good to go. So this is the center of the farm. Now, if you're one of these people that enjoy the full purity and never want to actually use the F3 key, well, good luck. You could probably... Okay, here comes the bad news. Magma blocks. You're going to need a lot of them. That's the biggest problem with this farm. You're going to need 3,000 magma blocks per level, and there's 3 levels, so that's 9,000 magma blocks. But the good news is that this farm can actually operate on one platform of magma blocks. So to get you started, you only have to go out and get 3,000 of them. It's not going to work as well, but it's going to work and may keep you happy where you go and farm the other 6,000. So to actually build a one-level farm, what you're going to do is pretend that this block is the glass roof. So you're going to build your glass roof here, and then you're going to build your magma block platform at this level. The reason why you build the glass first is you don't want ghasts and other nasties spawning to cause you trouble while you're building it. But I'm going to show you how to build the whole thing. So we're going to start with glass here, magma block, magma block, magma block. From the center of the farm, you're going to pillar up until you get to the build limit. Next, you're going to come out 32 blocks like this. Once you've bridged out 32 blocks, you're now going to have a total of 33 blocks because of this one here. You're going to come out to the end of the bridge like this, and you're going to add 32 blocks in that direction, and you're going to add 32 blocks in this direction. And eventually what we're going to end up with is a complete square ring around this thing that is 65 by 65 blocks. As you can see, I've come out another 32 from that bridge here. And now what I can do is simply build an additional 64 blocks on the end like this and keep going all the way round. Alright, now that's done. So just to explain once more, the total length of the outsides of these is 65 blocks. So essentially it is a 65 by 65 square with this red block here directly in the center. We're going to now need to fill in the ring, and it's really simple. The numbers are easy. It's 15 blocks wide. That's how thick the ring is, and that's what you need to do. When it's done, the ring will look like this. As I said, the total size of the square on the outside is 65 by 65. The width of this ring is 15 blocks, and it has no center. Oh, and I forgot to mention, you're going to also need 3,000 glass blocks for that. Next comes the magma platforms. They are identical to this, so that's going to be easy. The problem is walking on magma is a problem because it burns your feet. There's a few ways to solve this. If you have Frostwalker boots, that makes life easy. You can sneak and this won't hurt you, but yeah, it's going to be painful for your finger. The other one is some type of fire resistance. Anyway, I'm sure you'll work it out. So we're just going to copy this square ring. We're going to go down, and at each level here, here and here, you're going to put magma blocks. So basically with a 2 air gap between each platform. After you've laid down your first magma block platform, it'll look like this. As I mentioned, it's got a 2 air gap between that and the roof. And I'd suggest going with this one first and not this one because you'll avoid ghasts spawning. You can also see the pigmen rampantly spawning already. But don't worry, their time is near, and soon we'll be killing them by the million. Now you're just going to finish the last 2 magma block levels, starting with the next one down and then the final one at the bottom. And when you finish those magma block platforms, it's going to look like this. And how easy was that? Look at it, it's just all squares, easy peasy. Next we're going to build the player platform, or at least get it started, and again, just more squares. What I want you to do is build a square ring around the inside of this lower platform, 3 wide. When you're finished, it's going to look like that. Now we're just going to finish the player platform. It's easy, it's the same thing, a glass platform here, but we're going to leave an air gap of 3 like this. Come out 3, and we're going to start it right there and go all the way around so that there's a gap of 3 like that. Okay? Okay, and when you finish building that, you're going to have something like this. Just to recap, we've got 3 glass, 3 air, and this is a 23 by 23 glass platform. If somewhere along this build you've ended up with rectangles, well, we don't do rectangles on this channel, so you'll need to go back and check what went wrong. One good thing with the number 23 is it's the maximum size of a nether portal. So we're going to come over to the edge of our platform here and start laying down some obsidian. Okay, once you've laid out your 23 obsidian, it's going to look like this. And I want you to finish the nether portal by bringing it 1 higher than this middle platform. Like that. Alright, and when you're done, it's going to look like this. Don't light it, okay? Not yet. It's also a good idea to put some non-spawnable blocks on the top of this, so I suggest some lower half slabs. And when you're done with the half slabs, it's going to look like that. Do the same thing for the other 4 sides. And when we finish these portals, you're going to have 4 of them around the edge like that. Next, we're going to lay down our trapdoors. This is easy. You're going to have a trapdoor on the portal side like this, and then you're going to have a trapdoor on the glass side like that. You're going to do that around the edge of all the portals here, and that's it. Okay, we can now remove all this temporary scaffolding and clean this farm up a little bit. So here comes the fun bit, going back to the overworld and setting up our transport. We're going to build a nether portal right on the center of the farm here, which we marked before. But because I'm going to destroy this block, I'm going to put something else next to it so I know where it was. Put down a 2 wide obsidian portal frame here, like that. And we're going to come up 6 obsidian blocks like this. Before we light it and go through, we're going to need to take the coordinates of the center of our farm if we haven't already done it. I'm standing on the center here. We open it up. We can see that its X is -9, Z is 113. Light it up, go through. Okay, here we are. Now, almost always this portal is not going to be in the right spot. So I want you to break this portal. Now with those 2 coordinates we just wrote down, we're going to multiply them by 8. So we had -9, which will be -72. We also had 113, which will end up being 904. Bring up our coordinates again, and we're going to go to that spot. -72 is over here, and what do we want? 904 is right here. Remember we chose odd numbers in the nether? Well, if I've done this right and I turn on the chunk display, we are right in the middle. So let's mark this block here. That is the equivalent center of our farm in the overworld. Now looking around me, we've got a bit of action here. We've got some hills and that. It's probably a good idea to raise this platform up a little and build your farm processing in the overworld up a little higher. Okay, that's enough. That'll give us some space up here to build these things. Look, you could build it on the ground and dig into the ground, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'm just going to do it up here. We're just going to build a regular 4x5 portal here. And we're just going to make sure our coordinates fall inside the portal, like this. And when we're done, we're going to build our second portal. We're going to align this with that pillar like this. And we're going to come out 6 blocks. 5, 6 like that. Build a standard portal on top of this. 4 blocks across. 5 up. And when you're done, it'll be like this. Now we're going to build the little killing chamber. We'll start with a couple of trapdoors here. Put them down. Put some blocks around here like this. Come down underneath. Okay, come over, put a block under there. Put a half slab, some packed ice, bring it out too like that. Cobblestone wall on the end, and a solid block here. Now coming around, we can fill in this wall here. Now see this cobblestone wall? See how it's got a big square in the middle? If you put a block here, that square disappears. See the hitbox around it? Now if I remove that, there's a bigger hitbox. It's important that we leave only 3 sides of the cobblestone wall attached, and that'll prevent baby zombies from falling down, or piglins, or whatever the hell they're called. So you do need to leave a gap here. The easiest way to deal with that is just maybe get some glass, put it down like this, and come around, get rid of that, and we still maintain that shape. Come back to the end here, we're going to need to put another block down. That's where our water will go, and we just need to make sure our water doesn't spill everywhere, so build something around it like that. And now we can finish covering it over. We can put our water in now and fill this in with glass like this. Now I'm just going to complete this water stream without any item collection just to show you the basics, then we'll come back to it and add some hoppers. Grabbing some packed ice, we're going to come around the portal like this. And as you can see, when the items come around, they'll get shot through the portal in this direction. Build a little glass fence to stop the water spilling out. Now we can place some water just to test it. Going to need an upper half slab here. Add another bucket there. And it should just spill out over the portal like that. If you just wanted to do a basic test, you could punch a hole in here, throw some items in. Alright, here they come, around they go, and they should just go through the portal like that. There we go. Cover this over again. Stop the water going through the portal, put a block here. Now we just need to finish off where the zombies all pour out and make sure they don't end up over the landscape. I think what we'll do is cover this in glass, because of course you want to look at them, and just put it all the way around like this as a little fence. You only need to go this high, but if you're paranoid, I guess you could cover it over. At this stage, you could probably lay out a platform, a workspace, and it can be at this level here. Now we just need a little extra to put our turtle eggs on here, so a little extra platform here. Punch out these 4 blocks. You can grab some trapdoors, put them down like this, and also on the next block, like that. You're going to need to put down 2 doors. You're going to have to face this way to get them on, and they're going to be flat hard up against this wall here. You're going to need some turtle eggs. I actually don't know much about turtles, but there's some breeding involved, and they make baby eggs, and then you use a silk touch and you get the egg. But anyway, get an egg somehow, and then put maybe 1 or 2 there. 1 probably works, but 2 looks better. I like to just put a fence around the eggs, just in case there's mobs up here, or at some stage later you have an iron golem. You don't want them jumping up there and breaking your eggs. You can put some blocks around them like this, but I prefer to have some trapdoors because it just gives you a bit more space like this. These turtle eggs attract the zombie pigmen, which makes them walk off the platform down into the killing chamber. It's not entirely necessary, but it does provide a little bit of a flushing action when the farm's going. Before we finish things off, we can test the portals. So you can light them both up. And what you want to make sure is that stuff's going in the right direction. So probably the first one you can test is by walking through this one, and it should take you to the center of the farm, which it has. Once we're back in here, we can light these ones up. Once you've lit all the portals, the next thing to test is that the zombie pigmen which are being teleported through these are actually ending up in the killing chamber. So you're going to have to go through each one. I recommend putting a block down so you remember which one you went through. Okay, that one's fine. They'd end up in here. Let's go back through. Come over to this one. When you finish the last one and they're all coming into here, You probably want to go around and test the item portal one more time, because remember we've brought other portals online. And just make sure this is going back to the middle of the farm. Now the next big drama is getting to and from this farm, because obviously you don't want to be going through portals and ending up in the killing chamber. It would be a bad day. So with careful manipulation of Euclidean distances, we are able to set up a portal that hopefully is going to do the job. So what you're going to need to do is pick a direction to face. In this case I'm facing east. It doesn't matter which, but you just need to choose one. You're going to need to come over and under the farm, get yourself in the center. Remember we placed a block in the center over there and that portal's in the center. Grab some sort of temporary block and we're going to put one underneath the portal frame there. Then we're going to come out two like this, step down. Okay, you're going to step down one more. So what we end up with is basically 4 diagonal blocks. You can see them here, 1, 2, 3, and behind here is another one from that portal. Come around here and we're going to lay down a new portal. And we're going to start it there. Come across to that side, come across one there. We want to make sure that the opening of the portal, this is just a standard 4x5 portal. We're going to make sure that the opening of the portal is lined up with the center. One side of the opening of the portal is lined up with the center of the farm. Going to light it up, go through. This is throwing us about 100 blocks from the actual farm over there. That's okay. Break this portal. Come back over here. Now you need to do some counting. We're going to be counting from this block here. You'll need to go out 32 blocks across towards the portal where we came out and 32 blocks down. So it'll be like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to do all that, 32 out, 32 down. You can even do a few more blocks if you want, like 40 across and 40 down, that actually may be a better safety net. I'm now 32 blocks away from the farm and towards where we came out. You can make it a little more, I'm going to add a couple blocks here, and now we can go down that 32 blocks or, you know, a couple more, 35, 36, 40, whatever. And you may need to burrow down into the ground. Alright, here we are. Once you're at that spot that's at least 32 across and 32 down, put down some obsidian underneath your feet. We're going to build a portal at that spot, but that's the top of the portal. Okay, if we light this up and go through, fingers crossed, we'll end up back at our farm and in a safe position, and we did. So now you're probably going to have to go through the same process, making sure that particularly this portal is still working. You do not want to be sending all the zombie pigmen down into the ground into our entrance over there. Now we have a way in and out of our farm. I've just marked the location there. We want to do one final test to make sure the items are going through. So get rid of that temporary block. The water flows into the portal. Throw some things in there. Okay, 10 items. Let's go to the other side. On the other side here, there's our 10 wool. Fantastic. Important though, please mark which side it fell out, because that's where we're going to be collecting our items and our XP. And one thing we want to do is block this up here. I mean, I wouldn't recommend going through this portal, but you're welcome to try it after you get the farm built. Okay, we finished testing this portal here, so we can cover that over. We don't want all the mobs coming out of the back of that. Before we add the iron golems, we can give this a test by hopping up on the top of this portal, changing to survival, and firing an arrow at one of these zombie pigmen. Alright, we can see that they've all aggravated. They're all going through the portals, and in a moment all that XP and loot's going to be flying. There it is, meat and nuggets, and here comes the XP. So it's all happening. And there we go, isn't that all delicious? Look at it all, swords and meats and all that stuff. So now we'll move on to finishing it. We're on the home stretch, people, and here comes the piece de resistance, the iron golems. The special design and placement of the iron golems is what makes this farm fully automatic. It requires no action by the player. You don't need to hurt, touch, feel, or even look at a pigman just turn up and the farm starts working. To start with, you're going to find the middle of the farm, looking at this middle portal, and remember we marked a block right there, and next to it was the middle. Well, that's right here. You're going to put down 2 glass blocks like this. Switch to your trapdoors. You're going to put a trapdoor here, and one just on the other side like that. Come back around to the player side, and again in the middle, and we're going to have to get down here below the farm. The middle is right here. You're going to need to put some glass blocks down, like this. Now we have a glass block in the middle, down there. We're going to be able to come out 3 like this. And on the other side, remove the trapdoors above them. You're going to come out to the edge and go up 4 blocks like that, come across the top, and connect it with the other side. Smash out these 2 and these 2, and we're going to come back to the center, and we're just going to put a glass block up like that. Remove the bottom, and now what I want you to do is exactly the same thing on the opposite side over here. And when you're done, you're going to have that arrangement on 2 sides of the farm. To spawn in your iron golem, you're going to need to make a little space here so that he can spawn in properly. So get rid of those trapdoors there. Put down a temporary glass block here and start building him up. Put the pumpkin on top, and there we go. Now you just need to nudge him off the platform here like that, back over to there, so we can get rid of this block and put down our trapdoors again. Do the same on the other side. Now we have our iron golems in the farm, we can put down 2 more turtle eggs, 1 there and 1 on the other side. That's it. I'll turn the farm off peaceful mode, and we'll start to get our zombie pigmen spawning, and the farm will start. In a moment, all the items and XP will start pouring out of the portal. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, one of the problems you're going to have is just the sheer amount of stuff coming out of this portal. And so when you're not wanting to collect it, what do you do with it? Well, I'll show you a quick barbecue setup that may solve this problem. So what we've got here is a little fireplace, couple of netherrack blocks, some iron bars around there. We're going to need to put a little chimney to make sure all the items fall down. So you come out a couple like that, come across, do that, and maybe put 2 down there. We'll light this up and turn it back on. So as you can see, all the items are coming out now, not causing us any problems. They're all falling down and getting cooked down there. But we can still get our XP. All we need to do is stand next to the fire, and all the XP is going to come over because of gravity. The other place you can stand is up the top. You could build some stairs up here, maybe pop down a couple of trapdoors, and you can just stand up here and all the XP is going to come in and the actual loot's going to fall down there. Anyway, I'm going to leave it to you guys to work out how to barbecue your XP, but there's some ideas. As you saw at the beginning of this video, there's an unlimited amount of ways to handle your items in terms of filtering and sorting and all that sort of stuff. As per usual, I'll have a lot of details down in the description, which will talk about how to build the farm and where to go and see the tutorials for all those kind of extra ancillary items. But just to get you started, all you're going to need to do is put some hoppers down across here. Put down some chests, put down more chests, but to connect them up, get rid of that temporary block there, come over here, remove 4 of these ice, grab your hoppers, just face them into the chest like that, come around to the other side, last one goes in there, and there you have it. And all the stuff's going to be piling into here, and basically only the XP will now head over into the nether to the player. The last thing that makes people anxious is when there is no longer a player at the farm in the nether, you'll be left with probably, I don't know, about 30 or 40 zombie pigmen in here. And what to do with them? Well, you can just leave them. I mean, eventually they'll despawn. Alternatively, what you can do is actually put some sticky pistons on the back of these blocks here and just crush them. So just something like this. Oh, just listen to how satisfying it is. That's it for today, people. I hope you enjoyed it, and all the important details and world download will be in the description below. Anyhow, this has been Snow Crash. I'll catch you later. Cheers.